everybody, how we doing today? Another beautiful week here at school. Hey everybody, how we doing today? So the GoPro died, or half of it died. I learned that the audio portion of the video sounded like the beginning part of this video. It was just all staticky and broken up through the whole rest of the day. And eventually it went to this error mode of not enough power. And then eventually after that, it basically would not boot up anymore. But good thing is I found out that GoPro likes me. And even though it was 3 years old, they just said, we're going to replace it for you. No charges, no fees, nothing. So I was like, wow, all right, cool. So that's on its way to get replaced. But in the meantime, I'm just going to do this video with some audio voiceovers and just slash it down to nothing because I don't want to deal with it. But we were out. I just saw a school of, I thought was baby tarpon at the 200 tarpon spot. So very happy about that. And then the plan was to go to the outside edge of the backcountry, do a bait check, pilchards, mullet, and then also, if the tides were right, taking a look at bonefish and some kudas. So that was the plan. All right, so decided to go ahead and chase after that big school of what I thought was tarpon. Got them pointed out there. We're just going to kind of ease our way into casting distance. I could see the black marks in the water there. Can't really see them, but I could see their dark shadows that they're putting out. So getting into casting position, drop out the stakeout pole, and we're going to throw at them. I take a look. I really don't have anything ready for a tarpon. I don't have a tarpon fly on the fly rod. I don't have a paddle tail, so I figured out I'll just throw the Cuda tube because these juvenile tarpon love this black Cuda tube. This is the baby double-weighted treble. So I figured I'll just throw that out of them and at least just get them kind of worked up so I can get some topwater action. I'm going to launch that out there, double-weighted so I can toss it a mile. And get it out there, start working it. They're instantly kind of interested in it. And I'm like, oh, what the heck? They're coming at it. And then they're coming at it so close, I don't have anything to throw, so I grabbed the Esky shrimp, which is the only thing that I had, and then I noticed, hey, those aren't tarpon. What are those? Those are all big old, they're young adult kudas. They're all over the place. They're like schools of them all over, so go back to the Cuda tube because that's what it's built for. So we're going to take a look there. I'm just scanning around. They're all over the place, so I figured I'll just start blind casting. The kudas that have come up to the kayak have seen me, so they're not going to bite, so I'm not concerned about those. I'm just going to try to, oh, that one came at it. It's more of them. I'm going to just kind of blind cast out as far as I can to hit areas where maybe they haven't noticed me and they're still just actively looking for food. So I'm just kind of blind casting, seeing a lot of movement all over the place. Then I moved down a little bit to get in some fresh water, like I said, and I spotted some schools laid up, unmolested. They don't know I'm there, so throw a chunk out there. I want to get it probably about 20 feet away from them, but in the direction they're facing. I don't want it to land close to them, and then boom, this guy starts following it. Another one starts following it, and I'm like, holy crap, these are all barracudas. My 200 tarpon spot is actually a 200 barracuda spot. So I said, that's awesome. So I'm just blind casting again, looking for fresh fish that I haven't spooked out. Just kind of scanning around looking for one that's just basically sitting still, looking into the current, waiting for something to come by. Those are the ones that are going to be actively feeding. And just kind of blind casting again, just to look for fresh waters. Just looking for a fish that hasn't seen me yet and just running it through and still seeing stuff chasing it. So they're all over the place. Very happy about that. Then moved again, a little bit fresh water again. This time I spotted a pack of them. So I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be good. Throw it out there, running it, boom. Here it comes, and smash mouth. Smashed it. So we're on. Then I'm like, oh crap. Look at all of them. They're all over the place. Looking at them. They're everywhere. And I'm like, oh crap, I haven't adjusted my drag. I'm still running light drag, but oh, look at all of them. They're all over the place. I've probably seen 30 or 40 of them in this just one little spot. So I'm just amazed how many there are. Usually I find this many of tarpon around there, but these are all barracudas, which is good. This is my first big CUDA hot spot that I found, so very pleased about it. And just looking at all of them running all over. My guy's getting them all worked up, so they're going on a kind of a feeding frenzy. Like one is feeding, they could feel the vibration that it's something that's going aggressive, so they're looking for a school of mullet or a school of bait fish, or maybe they're worried about a shark coming in and chasing them, so they're freaking out, and all of them are just blowing up all over the place. Greedy Steve is kicking in. I'm just thinking in my mind, what do I have? What can I throw? Should I throw the bonefish fly? Should I throw the Esky shrimp? I have a bare weighted circle hook with no bait on it. I could throw that. What can I do? But then I start thinking, hey, probably best to just land this fish. And then I'm kind of like hoping the fun part's over. Hopefully it falls off because I don't want to deal with it. This is the unfun part where you're in danger of hurting yourself really badly. If it would just come off, I could start casting and catch another one and bust them. Look at all of them. And here I am playing with this stupid one. Get off, get off, get off. It's not getting off. So I figured, all right, let's get this boy off as soon as possible so I don't blow up this spot totally. Rolls on its back, so I know this fight's pretty much done. So got to get him over to my outrigger side where I can bring him in close. Then I start talking about fast hands. Okay, you're dealing with a treble hook and a mouthful of teeth, so you don't want the teeth to bite a finger off. You don't want the treble hook to embed in your hand. You don't want the treble hook and the toothy critter to embed into your leg or on your kayak somewhere where you're stuck with it. Then I figured, all right, got to get the shot. What happened there? Did I miss it? Wait, what's happening? All right, well, I don't know what happened to the video, but that's the camera messing up. But I got it. Fast hands worked. There we go. Kind of unhappy that I couldn't get the money shot with the All About the Bait Barracuda tube on the other side of the mouth. But I didn't want to switch hands. I just wanted to let this guy go and see if I can get another one. Handy dandy pliers that I took off my lanyard. That means I'm going to lose it pretty soon, so I'll have to buy some more pliers because I'm too lazy to fix it. And quick release, let this guy go. Seems happy enough. No sharks around, shallow water, so we can just let him go and be on our way. So, yeah, awesome sauce. And that was it. We made the run out to the farther out in the backcountry side, and on the way out there, I spotted some dusty water. Then started seeing some mullet scooting around along the edge, so very happy about that. This is actually the first mullet mud I've seen. I've seen some schools of mullet out in the channels and some secluded pockets in the mangroves, but this is the first mullet mud section that I've seen this year, and so very happy about that. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of it, pointing out, doing kind of a head count, looking at what size they are, how compacted they are. I could see farther down where the main portion is because it's really super dusty, where they've really churned up the waters, the mud. You can kind of see here where it kind of comes to a really freshly dusted out area. That's kind of the axis of where they're at the moment, where I would be throwing my cast net if I was going to. I want to test out my new live well system, so I'm just kind of contemplating if this one is big enough where they might be here in a few days when I come back out, if it's worth it or not. These things usually get up to about the size of a football field, but this is just a small one, but very happy about it. Now we've made it out to the outside edge, working some of these deeper cuts. Generally this is a spot that I'll see redfish, snook, a lot of mangroves, but I was seeing nothing. No fish, no bait. Probably because there's no bait, there's not going to be any other fish regardless of how good it looks, but just really not seeing much of anything. Then I just ended up finding a spot, dropping the Esky shrimp down just to kind of see. I kind of like to gauge what size mangrove snappers are around. A lot of times they hang out underneath the cuts, and if you just drop anything down, they'll come out to inspect it, and you can kind of see what size you're dealing with. But the snook happened to just smash it, so I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Brought combat fishing underneath the mangroves. Nice little snook. Haven't seen snook that often. This spot does hold a lot, and then a lot of times there's some really big guys, but hard to get them to bite without having the right bait. But they do like to ambush stuff, so soft plastic, my All About the Bait bucktail jigs works good. This happened to be that All About the Bait bonefish jig head with the Esky shrimp on it. Just dropping it down, but anytime they see a shrimp imitation come by, they're going to smash it. 3-inch gold, I believe. Usually ready for bonefish, but snook like it is just as much. Let that guy go. And we're out of there. Found one of the inlets. Checking it out. Saw some big snook. 20 plus pounders hanging out underneath there. But then I also noticed this mullet mud. And then I noticed like this big old massive train of tarpon. So if you can see underneath there, this is probably 100 plus school just constantly running this whole time, going underneath the mullet mud. In the corner there is a tarpon tunnel. So they're running down the main channel and then making a cut through where that tarpon tunnel is. But it's just constantly tarpon after tarpon. I know I'm not going to get anything. When they're on an A to B mode, they're on the way to go someplace. Pretty much impossible to get them to bite because they're all moving with the fact that they're moving because something is happening and they don't know why, but they got to follow their leader. So just keep your head down and keep moving. But just constantly, we got a bunch of tarpon. Then I'm seeing more tarpon rolling out in the open. Those are a little bit more apt to biting because they're just little young ones having fun and frolicking, and if they see some little bait fish struggling by, they might whack it. I'm just seeing that tarpon hole where they're all going through. I was kind of hoping they would funnel out into the basin there, and then it would be a little bit easier, but no, most of them are going into that tarpon tunnel. So I'm just throwing out these guys just for the sake of you got to try. Esky bonefish jig with an Esky shrimp is probably not the best. Really, bobber, live pinfish, or a mullet chunk would probably be about the only way to get these guys to bite. Possibly the Shimano fly, a topwater fly, something that you could suspend and just make little movements might entice them, but something that sinks and that you have to reel through them, is just they're not going to go for it. So just checking out, seeing more bodies all over the place. So lots of fish in there, but not really too interested in it. Didn't want to change my lure up and target them, so just playing around a little bit. Next up, I wanted to do a little bit of bone fishing, but I kind of missed the tide. It's already dropped pretty low, so the flats are too low to hold any fish. These areas where you can see the light spots, sand spots, are kind of a staging slash exit staging points. Just after those, you start going into deeper water and then open to the Gulf of Mexico. So on a rising tide, this is where they're going to stage up, waiting for it to get high enough so they can go onto the flats where the grass is and more of the food is. But there are also spots of the last point where they can hang out before the water gets low enough where they have to go out to the deeper water, where it's a lot more dangerous for them because that's where the bigger fish are waiting to eat them, versus the flats, which are a little bit safer for them because those big fish can't get at them. Saw a few little movements, but it turned out to be just some bonnet heads. But put some shrimp out there just to see if I could attract anything, as well as I was trying to see if I could get a blue crab spot for permit, but didn't end up pulling anything with that. So just spent about 15-20 minutes. I kind of knew that we had already missed the tide level, so didn't stay there for very long. This last section here, I was running back, and then I spotted a tree in this channel, and it was covered in these good-sized mangrove snappers, and then I found a couple of pockets that were holding some real sizable mangroves, like 14 to 16 inches, school of them. So I was pretty like, wow. So I came back and just wanted to drift over it. I was marking it using that fallen tree because I want to remember where I found them and what areas, pockets that I was seeing them at. So if I ever wanted to get some nice eater mangroves, I know a spot. You can kind of see the tree down in there and some of the fish. I just had that weighted circle hook with a piece of shrimp on it from when I was bone fishing. So I just kind of threw that out there. But all I'm doing is just kind of trying to remember all the different cuts and spots that I'm seeing them. So if ever down the road, like I said, I can come back to it. Most likely, they usually, if they're there once, they're going to be there again. So I have to remember where the spot is, tidal conditions, wind conditions, what time of the day it was. So if I match those conditions, most likely they'll be back there in the same spot. So that's just kind of what I'm doing here, and what I do when I'm going from A to B. I'm always fishing. And this is me having to try to cross a channel and catching the low tide. So I'm having to push pull for about a quarter of a mile just to go from one channel to the other. Since it's low tide, I just miscalculated. I'm trying to get back to the 200 barracuda spot, or my 200 tarpon spot, because I wanted to just see if they're there in the evening. Once again, trying to learn patterns and know when they're there, when they're not there. I actually did get a few blow-ups, and even with the low light conditions, I could see them when they were running right up to the kayak following the bait, so I knew they were still there, so that gave me a better feeling of, yeah, that's going to be a good spot that should hold up for a while. This spot is also where I am going to be targeting the large migrating tarpon, since for the last 2 years I've seen decent-sized schools laying up in this kind of basin area. So those are the ones I like to target. They're not migrating from A to B. They're stopping and feeding and resting, and they're the ones that are going to get a bite, whether it be whatever bait you decide to throw in front of them. So I'm just kind of pointing out the zones of where I'm seeing the big tarpon, where I see the small tarpon, where I see the kudas. Alrighty, so that was the day. Good and bad. Bad part about it, I don't want to do this voiceover thing for videos. It just adds so much extra time. I just need to cut them down, upload them, and be done with it. I don't have time for this. But basically that day what happened is I fished the day, filming it. Everything worked as normal, nothing out of the ordinary, until I literally got back to the launch, loaded up. I was going to do one of those outros where I'm sitting in the driver's seat and you're filming from behind the steering wheel, and I just explain what happened, and that's the outro. Well, when I tried to record that, it kept on airing out to this not enough power message. And I was like, okay, end of the day, I just timed it just right. So I got my spare battery, put it in there. Boom, same thing, not enough power. I'm like, what? But then again, I was like, yeah, like I've never forgotten to do something like recharge my spare battery. So, okay, no worries. I'll just go home and do an outro. Came home, put it in a third battery, and it got the same error message. And then I'm like, whoa, this is not good. But then I charged them and waited a few hours and got those batteries charged on my other camera, because this one wasn't allowing it to charge. That was another red flag. But got them charged up on my other GoPros, put the batteries in, and then it was taking a lot longer to boot up each time I tried that, to the point, and it was still not working. It was still coming up with the same error, and it kept longer and longer, to the point where it finally just died on me. So I was like, oh crap. So I called GoPro, got on with them. It was totally dead, so he said, let's go through these steps. I said, sure. It said, okay, try doing this. All right, it's dead. Okay, now try this. Yeah, it's dead. I can't do that. So I went through all that. They're finally like, all right, looks like it's dead. So let's probably what we could do. It's out of warranty. It's 3 years old. Sorry. I said, well, I've got the subscription, so I should be under some warranty. They look it up. Yeah, you're okay there. It's $100. We'll swap it out for you. So, oh shit, $100. All right, whatever. And that was it. Then I waited about 2 or 3 days, nothing. So I figured they were mailing me a return box or something. But then I got an email message that said, hey, we haven't heard from you, so we're going to cancel out your help request. I'm like, what? So I got on to chat with them. I'm just like, hey, I mean, after I got off the phone with the initial person, I haven't heard from anybody. So they're like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll update that and we'll get you the return information, how to do it, blah, blah, blah. You'll get an email. So I got an email and they said, oh, you're like one of our preferred customers. We're going to waive any fees and transfer fees, any type of fees. We're just going to swap it out for you. I'm like, sweet, that'll work. So they're going to take care of it. Hopefully in the next week or two, I'll have my new camera, but I have my 2 GoPro 10s that I swapped out a couple of years ago. So I've got those and that's what I'll be using. But otherwise, that's the day. So anyways, thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed the voiceovers. If you do make YouTube videos, voiceovers are excellent. They'll really help your videos to the next level if you do a mixture of action out as it's happening type video portions, but then doing sections in voiceovers as well to explain stuff that way. It really does actually help improve the algorithm and improves your videos, but I just don't got the time for that, so I'm not doing it. But anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you next video. Bye.